Welcome to Applied Houdini Dynamics 3 volume rendering. This time we're going to take one of our complicated frames from Dynamics 2 when we had our kind of steamy gaseous explosion. And don't worry if you didn't do Dynamics 2, I'm not mad, but you will have to start from the otherwise optional second chapter here where you're going to have to reconstruct a complex volume using Houdini's cloud tools. You might want to watch that anyway, even if you did do Dynamics 2, because I think the cloud tools are pretty cool. But either way, you'll either follow along with an example from last time, or you'll make a new one now. From that volume, we're gonna light it with different kinds of lights, and as always, and especially in this lesson, we're gonna talk about production-minded tips and tricks and techniques. Rendering is such an expensive and time-consuming process. Even if you have a super fast computer at your disposal, we're still talking about minutes or hours turnaround time for things. So we need to render things efficiently, and that comes into play with the lights themselves, with the shadows, especially the mantra node itself has a host of render settings that will be critical to turning things around quickly, both in a low quality iterative mode and also even in your final image. You can still take advantage of a lot of efficiency gains through knowing how these settings work. So that'll be render efficiency. We're going to talk about the pyro material itself and how that works. In particular, how to manage the shadows versus density and the rest noise. I mentioned it kind of obliquely in the last lesson that we wanted to store rest data. And this time we'll actually get to use it to advect as such noise through your volume so that you can get very, very minute detail without wasting simulation time on it. We're going to talk about how to scatter light into your volume. Things like a light amount of dust or steam will treat light differently than just a dark, solid volume. We're also going to talk about motion blur if your volume has a notable amount of velocity that it would need to be blurred in camera. And then a few, as usual, just little settings here and there, little tips that I have, things like Gaussian sampling and whatnot, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So in any case, hope you're excited to learn all about volume rendering within Mantra. And next time, just for the record, is when we're going to talk more about compositing related things. For now, enjoy volume rendering.